My daughter Tanya had been bullied at school for an entire year. She had been 12 years old. She had been a sweet, quiet girl. She had been a good student. She had loved her books. She had not been the type of child who had been able to defend herself. The bullies had been 3 girls from her class. They had been the popular ones. They had been pretty and confident. They had been cruel. They had targeted Tanya because she had been quiet. They had targeted her because she had been kind. They had spread rumors about her. They had hidden her books. They had thrown her lunch in the trash. They had called her ugly names. They had laughed at her in front of other students. Tanya had not told me at first. She had been embarrassed. She had been ashamed. She had thought she had deserved it somehow. I had noticed something was wrong. She had become withdrawn. She had stopped eating properly. She had stopped wanting to go to school. She had cried at night when she thought we could not hear. My wife and I had gently asked her about school. She had finally told us everything. We had been heartbroken. We had been furious. I had gone to the school the next morning. I had met with the principal. I had explained the situation. I had asked him to discipline the girls. The principal had been polite but unhelpful. He had told me the girls were good students. He had told me Tanya might be overreacting. He had told me he would speak to them informally. He had told me he could not punish them without evidence. I had pushed for more. The principal had told me one of the girls was the daughter of a major donor to the school. He had told me his hands were tied. I had left the meeting frustrated. I had decided I could not rely on the school. I had thought about how to handle it. I had needed to be strategic. I had asked Tanya to start documenting everything. I had given her a small notebook. I had told her to write down every incident. I had told her to note the date, the time, what had happened, who had been there as a witness. She had done so diligently. I had also bought her a small voice recorder. I had told her to keep it in her bag. I had told her to turn it on whenever the bullies had approached her. I had explained to her that the recorder had been to protect her. She had agreed. Over the next 3 months, we had built up a substantial record. We had also gathered video evidence. One of Tanya's friends had agreed to film some of the incidents discreetly. The videos had been clear. The audio had been clear. The bullying had been undeniable. I had also done research on the girls' families. The donor's daughter had been one of the worst. Her father had been a wealthy businessman. He had been very protective of his reputation. He had been very involved in his social circle. He had cared deeply about how he appeared to others. I had compiled everything into a professional file. I had included the notebook entries. I had included the audio recordings. I had included the videos. I had included quotes from Tanya's friends. I had then made copies. I had sent 1 copy to the principal. I had sent 1 copy to the school board. I had sent 1 copy to a journalist who had been covering education issues. I had then personally delivered a copy to the father of the donor's daughter. I had told him I had not wanted to embarrass his family publicly. I had told him he had a week to address the situation with his daughter. I had told him I had also expected an apology to Tanya. He had been furious. He had threatened to sue me. I had laughed. I had told him the evidence was undeniable. I had told him the journalist had already received a copy. He had become quiet. He had asked me what I had wanted. I had told him what I had wanted. The 3 girls had been suspended for 2 weeks. They had been required to attend counseling. They had been required to write personal apology letters to Tanya. They had been required to read the letters out loud in front of the principal. The donor's daughter had been transferred to a different school the following year. Tanya had been left alone. She had returned to being herself. She had started smiling again. She had started reading again. She had started laughing again. She had told me last month that she had wanted to become a lawyer when she had grown up. She had told me she had wanted to help other children who had been bullied. I had hugged her. I had not been able to speak.